Hi, this is Moe Nawaz, Chief Editor for Success News. Today we have our latest and brand new editor to the Success News, and I'm happy to present Natalie Brown here, who is going to be joining us. And Natalie is our next media queen that's going to dominate most of the market around the world, the same way as Oprah is now currently dominating. Now, there has to be somebody to take the place of Oprah, and who better than Natalie herself? So I'd like to welcome you to Success News.
Thank you.
As an editor. First of all, just for the benefit of our members, would you like to give us a brief description about your background, Natalie?
Yeah, sure. Well, basically, I was born in London but raised in Rugby, where I went to school. Left school with about 5 GCSEs and moved back to London, funnily enough. Always had a passion for singing and music.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my mum was a singer, and so I've always wanted to do singing. And I did some singing for a while. I actually studied opera for a year, which was
Wow.
great training. Even though that wasn't the area I was really going to go down, it's great for any kind of vocal training that you want to do. And I dabbled in the music industry a little bit, met a few famous people and things, got a manager. But then I fell pregnant with my daughter, China. And so I kind of left the music and concentrated on that.
How old's your daughter?
My daughter is now 19,
Wow.
so a big girl. And so I went to work for some retail companies like Debenhams and places for a while, which I enjoyed. I love fashion and I did enjoy it, but it wasn't really where I saw myself. But I also went in and worked in the city for a little while as well. I worked for accountants, I worked for investment banks, and as much as it's, you know, it's great for the people that want to work in those areas, it really wasn't me at all. Finance was not my strong point, so I stayed for a while, but unfortunately after a little while I got ill and suffered with a breakdown and had to move back to Rugby. And when I moved back to Rugby, it was a bit of a process to get myself well again. But once I did start to get stronger, I ended up working as an estate agent.
Okay.
And it was very strange for me because instead of selling the houses, once I kind of got to know the market, I ended up buying the houses instead. I had a friend who needed somewhere to stay, and we had a market that was a good deal.
So property tycoon as well.
Yeah,
Well
yeah,
done,
kind
well
of
done.
fallen into it accidentally, but my friend needed somewhere and this house was a good buy, so I bought it and I gave it to her to live in, and I've kind of done that a few times now.
Okay.
And now I've kind of ended up in the TV world, which is
so
even...
that was your start to entrepreneurial from the property side?
Yeah, well, funnily enough, just going back a little bit, when I was in London, I actually started my own travel company.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to live in Rome. I lived in Rome.
Wow.
Yeah, I lived in Rome for about 6 months. And when I was there, I worked as worked for a guided tour company. So they would give tours of like the Vatican and the Colosseum and places. And so when I moved back to London, I said to them, look, your tours are great. Why don't I be an agent for you based in London? And, you know, I'll get people to sign up via me and then send them on to you, etc. And so I started my own travel business, and it was funded by the Prince's Trust, funnily enough.
Wow.
Yeah.
Small world.
Yeah. So it's funded by them, which I was very grateful for. And also at the same time, Lord Sugar, he wasn't Lord Sugar at the time, but he had a column in the Daily Mirror helping businesses, and I was featured as one of the questions that he would answer.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
No wonder you've taken a shine to media. You've already been there. Been there and getting exposure on that.
Yeah.
So what are you currently working on?
At the moment, I'm working on my own talk show. I have a show called Time with Natalie, and I started this show about 18 months to 2 years ago. And I started looking at British TV shows, especially talk shows, chat shows, and looking at what we've got here. And just felt like we were missing somebody like Oprah, or an Oprah-style show. A show that's inspiring, a show that's positive, that leaves you thinking, you know, with a positive attitude.
Is this a TV channel or a satellite channel or an internet channel?
Well, it's an internet show at the moment, but the aim is to get it on mainstream TV.
How frequently do you broadcast on that?
At the moment, it's going to be every week.
Okay.
So initially, when I first started, I would film in batches and then release them, and then there'd be a bit of a break. But the strategy now is to make sure that there's content coming out every week. And I think the beauty of launching on the internet and via platforms like YouTube is that, you know, you can build an audience.
It is the way forward.
I truly believe that. I truly believe that. I think you can build an audience from around the world. I get messages from Africa, from Australia, America, from
You're very passionate about helping women all around the world.
Yeah.
To get your message across. That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's as a woman myself and somebody who's been through so many different challenges, I've struggled with different issues, health issues, financial issues. I know what it's like. I know how hard it can be.
Have you inspired anybody of late that you can probably share a story with us?
Yeah, I like to think so. For instance, Oprah is a big idol of mine. And I tend to go over to the US every year. She holds an event once a year in conjunction with her magazine. And normally I go by myself, but last year I decided to take a group of women with me because I know that they would be so inspired by the day and you know, just be empowered from it.
How many did you take with you?
I took 17 women from the UK and Africa and South Africa with me to see Oprah in Los Angeles. And because of that, I was featured in Oprah magazine in January.
So you actually got to meet Oprah?
I actually didn't get to meet Oprah. That's the one person that I haven't met. I interviewed Stedman, her partner. I've met Sherry, who runs her company. I've met the experts from the show. So I think Oprah, I interviewed Gail as well on the red carpet. I think Oprah's
so your inspiration is Oprah at this moment in time to follow her footsteps.
Absolutely.
Earlier on you was telling me that you also had a meeting with Sir Richard Branson. You managed to get a one-on-one with him.
I did.
How did you manage that? How did you manage that?
Yeah,
that's incredible.
That was amazing. That was amazing. I ended up meeting a guy called Joe, who is Virgin Unite's biggest fundraiser.
Joe Polish, yes.
Joe Polish, yeah. Fantastic guy.
He is, absolutely.
He is very, very, you know, very down to earth and such a lovely guy. And I met him and his girlfriend Renee, and that was at an event a few months ago. And we got on so well that Joe takes a group of people over to Necker every year and donates the funds to Virgin Unite. And Renee decided to put together just a handful, 5 or 6 women herself, and take them over to Necker, and she invited me to go and asked me if I wanted to go.
That's fantastic, fantastic. I'm sure that'll be broadcasted not long from now. Knowing Joe, he has a tendency to broadcast most of these. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
So what other people have you managed to inspire women-wise that you've helped around the world or locally?
There's a lady who saw my show, really impressed with what I was doing, really loved the concept of the show, and her dream was always to have her own show. A lady from Nigeria. She's actually based in Manchester, but she's originally from Nigeria, and she wanted to create her own show. So she came to me and asked me if I would help her with putting together what you need to do to create a show. And so I helped her do that. We would look at format, we would look at set, filming, scripts and links and everything else. And I'm really, really pleased because now she's been commissioned and sponsored by companies in Nigeria, and her show is broadcast on television in Nigeria.
Wow, fantastic, fantastic. We really are pleased to actually have you as an editor to Success News and trying to find time for you to make sure that you can help the audience out there as well. I know you've got so many things running on at the moment. You're flying halfway around the world, back and forth from various different sort of venues and events, and you're trying to get so much done for people around the world. I think it's fantastic, to have you on board to join the Success News group and to help the audience out there. So tell me, where do you see yourself in about 3 years' time from now?
Oh, good question. My dream is to have a show, an international show that inspires not just women, but my main audience is women, but men and women around the world. And alongside that, my brand is all about time. So it's all about helping people to maximize their time and balance their life. And I believe there are 7 key areas to that. So time for work, relationships, health, etc.
Okay.
And so I can see the show spinning off into different areas of having a magazine, having a radio show. I'm actually working on my own fashion brand as well.
Wow.
So I can see it as, you know...
Explains why you're globe-trotting half the time. I mean, it's so difficult to tie you down to even bring you in for this interview. You know, so we've had to wait 2-3 months almost, so you're very, very busy. So very fortunate to have you.
Oh, thank you.
So pleased to have you.
Thank you.
Is there any channel that you'd like to mention at the moment where people can read more about you or follow you on any of the sort of social media or your own channel?
Yeah, sure. My website is timewithnatalie.com.
Okay.
That's my main website, so that has all the shows and all the different articles and features and things on there.
Okay.
And my social media is basically, if you do a search under Time with Natalie, so facebook.com/timewithnatalie or twitter.com/timewithnatalie, you'll find everything.
Fantastic, and I'm sure all our viewers are going to be reading a lot more articles and probably even further interviews from yourself. And I'm really pleased to welcome you on board.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is Moe Nawaz and Natalie Brown.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.